Hey guys. And I'm smiling. I see our special guest who I'm so excited to chat with there. And I see her picture and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to talk to you now, but I'm going to do a little introduction first. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. It is February 4th. A friend made this for me. I'm going to talk about this a little more later because this is cool, but what's inside of it is so cool. But like I said, when we were talking about this and building up to it and all of that, the basic idea of this is it's if you know kind of thing. But if you have read Plot Twist, this one right here, you know that February 4th is not just the most important day in the book, it is the only day in the book. So we have 10 years of February 4ths. So typically, with books, sometimes you celebrate the book birthday, which this book did not come out on February 4th, but February 4th has to be the day that we talk about Plot Twist forever and ever. And I've had so many great comments from so many of you today, reaching out to me saying, like February 4th will always be Ironic Day or Hamish MacDougal Day, or like each of you calls it something different based on, I think, what you identified with different parts of the book or whatever. So we're going to talk about all of that. So first thing I need to say is as you make comments, I'm so excited to see you guys. First of all, hello, Shannon. Hello, Emily. Hello, Missy. Hello, Auntie Mermaid. That's a fantastic name. Hey, Christy. Hello, my friend. So you guys are starting to comment. Love it, love it, love it. Keep it up. Every single time you comment, you get an entry into a giveaway for the night. And we're going to do several different giveaways. Actually, I think I've got 8. I think we're giving away 8 Thanes. So every time you comment, you get an entry. So be sure to do that. Hey, Nancy, thanks for popping in. So good to see you guys. Hey, Jennifer, it's so wonderful to see you guys popping in. I'm just delighted. So we're going to talk a little bit about Plot Twist. I had someone message, hey, Dana. Woo! Love seeing it. You guys just keep the comments coming. Hey, Vanessa, it is an exciting night. I agree. Someone posted right before I got in here tonight. Somebody said that it was, they wanted to be here, but they're currently reading and they're only on 2005 and they didn't want spoilers, which I'm like, yeah, good choice. Do not come tonight. But having said that, if you have not yet read Plot Twist, I'm going to commit to trying. I mean, we will protect the big plot twist. That will never get spoken of. Like, if you don't read the book, you'll never know. Well, someone could tell you. You won't hear it from me. Let me put it that way. So we will protect big plot twist type spoilers. But we are going to talk about some plot points and some different things. So beware of that. But we may even, I don't know, we may have to talk in code or something. So we'll try to protect the plot twists as much as possible. But enough of all that. I could just ramble on and on, but what I really want to do is introduce the person who's going to be chatting with me tonight because I'm so excited that she's here. If you were at the Plot Twist launch party back in 2021, so long ago, it feels like, you've already met Talon David. And I'm telling you guys, this was not in any way ever going to be a simple book to produce as an audiobook, in my opinion. Because I mean, let's put it this way. It wasn't going to be a simple book to do well. And she nailed it start to finish. So I just, from the moment I heard her narration of Plot Twist, I was in love with it. I've kind of fallen in love with her too, because she's so stinking talented and delightful and all these things. So she's going to be here chatting with me all night long. I'm going to go ahead and add her in here. Hey.
Hello.
It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Can you hear me all right? I
Hear
was
you
want to make sure.
perfectly.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's great. Someone just posted that they have Plot Twist virgin eyes and ears and they haven't gotten to read it yet. So, like,
No.
we will be we'll be respectful of the spoilers.
Okay.
Nothing major will be unleashed, but we're gonna have to talk about a few things. So maybe we'll just we'll give little spoiler alerts and tell you guys to, cover your ears if we're talking certain things. But hi, Talon.
Hello, Bethany. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited that you're here and that we get to connect again and talk about all this.
I know. I feel like I get to know you so well through your books and just how you write. I feel like is very personal. And so I feel like I'm just chatting with a friend here. And I hope you feel the same.
I very much do because, like I said, I was I don't know, my characters tend to have they have a certain level of snark
Oh,
that can come
yes.
out. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah. And there's a certain finesse, I guess, to delivering snark without being catty or mean. And you nailed it from the
So good.
get-go. You
Yay.
nailed it.
Yay.
And
Yeah.
so from that first time, like I said, when I heard the opening lines of Plot Twist, it was like I was able to take a breath and just know it was in safe hands and you never disappointed. Start to finish, I was just enthralled. And and here's the thing, I have to say this too as a little bit of a disclaimer because it sounds like a very egotistical thing, like I love this book, I couldn't stop listening. That's not typically always the case. It's like I don't go back and just reread my books. Like it wasn't that, it was Talon's delivery of it. I was able to hear it through fresh ears, and it was kind of, being able to, when you listen to your work done really well in an audiobook, it's like, oh, there are my friends coming alive. And that's what you did. And so I loved it.
Oh, I love that so much. And just
Oh,
I usually read physical copies of books. Like I really don't listen to audiobooks very much. And so it's a very different format.
mhm.
And so
Yeah.
I think you can definitely say like I really enjoyed the audiobook of my book because you didn't create it for it to be in that format, you know?
Right.
So it's sort of like a translation. It's almost like you saying this book in Spanish may be a little different than the book in English, and it's the same thing with an audiobook. Maybe even
Yeah.
more so.
That's such a good way to say it. And that just nails it. Yeah. So and I'm going to go ahead, and I talked about this in all the promos of tonight, and we'll talk more about this later. We're not going to dive into it yet, but have to say the do-over, which comes out next month, you're reading the do-over too.
I am. I was so happy. I was like, she really liked me. She was just kidding. So yes, and I have. Oh my gosh, I don't want to give too much away, but this book is excellent.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited. We're gonna a little bit later, and you guys are commenting, and I've got to start painting. I just, you said here we are. It's like just talking to a friend. That's how I feel. I'm like, oh yeah, we're actually live streaming, and I have comments coming in. I got to pay attention to that too. I feel like Talon and I are just sitting here having coffee or something. But yeah, there are a little later, you are going to do a reading from the do-over, which we got together just for a few minutes and kind of worked out which scene it was going to be. But I have not heard Talon read a single word of the do-over yet. So I'm
Oh.
probably even more excited than you guys are. Oh man, I'm so excited. So it's gonna be so fun. We're gonna dive into so many things, and I'm really excited to do that. Um, but let's start with talking about plot twist a little. I mean, I know we already were, but let's dive in a little more to that.
Yes.
Because I don't remember if it was when you and I talked before for the launch party, or if it was in our whatever it was. At some point, I know you said you were a little nervous about the very first voice that speaks in Plot Twist.
Yes, I was.
So talk a little bit about that character and your process of finding his voice, if you would.
Okay. With like as little words as possible because
Yeah. That's true.
Thanks.
No pressure.
Yeah,
But, you know.
this was huge, and I didn't expect, because I like to read through the whole book before I, do it in studio or even
Wow.
start the first day recording, especially with a book like this, because if I hadn't read through the whole thing, I wouldn't have known what to do. And I never expected like the very first line to be something that I needed to revisit later. But
yeah, I totally set you up to fail with this question. I'm just amused by watching you dig your way.
yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
But it's always hard because, and I was thinking about it in an audio format, if people are really listening to accents and are really into it, things are going to be given away before it's time to be given away. And I was like, okay, how authentic do I need to be to the accent? But can I kind of blur it a little bit so people don't know exactly what it is? And so it's hard doing accents at all in audiobooks for a lot of American audiences because it's hard to understand them a lot of times, and especially with the accents you chose, like a truly authentic accent is going to be very difficult to do.
Yeah.
And to understand. So there's a bit of like, I guess, Americanizing that needs to happen just to get it to be understood. And so I had fun with that, sort of towing the line.
Yeah, and it, and I think part of the fun of that is the fact that our heroine, Olivia Ross, from the get-go, it's well established. She has no idea what dialect she's listening to. She's really kind of clueless. She's like mildly European sounding is about all she really knows for sure.
Yes.
So it definitely leaves a lot to the reader's discretion and left even more to yours. But you nailed it. You nailed it. So way to go.
Yay! I got past the question.
You did. No spoilers. Great job.
Good. Yay. Yay.
Oh, we're getting all these comments about how much they loved you and your reading of it. So, yeah, I'm with you guys. And we're actually going to, if you have not heard the audiobook version of Plot Twist yet, or if you haven't read Plot Twist at all, we're going to be giving away some paperbacks. My publisher, HarperCollins Thomas Nelson, is also throwing in a couple of audiobook codes. So we will be giving away a couple of audiobooks and some other stuff we'll be talking about. But just a reminder, if you joined us late, the way to get entered into any of the giveaways is to comment either on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching live right now. If you're watching later, we're so glad you're watching. Thank you for watching the replay. But all the giveaways are going to be live, but they're still going to be fun for you. So I hope you'll still watch the replays. Here's a great comment. I love how that little first line leaves you questioning through the entire book. Yes. And I'd say that's very much the case. Okay, here's a great question for... I'm sorry, my husband just made a comment that we're going to put up. There you go. See, so you nailed the Uzbekistan. See, he's helping us keep the mystery alive. That's what he's doing.
Oh,
there,
good.
so.
Yes. Yes. I love the Uzbekistanese.
You nailed it. And yeah, so now, never even thought of the accent spoiler. Now I feel like I need to listen to the audiobook. Yeah, it's and I think I can honestly say, even though we're talking about this, and yes, you're getting a little information if you haven't read it, you also have no information. Like what we're saying right now, it's not going to even make sense. You're going to, what? Yeah. So, but it'll make sense later. So come back to us. It'll be great. Oh, so Carol said, now I want to grab my copy and read that first line. She can't remember what it is. Well, it's Mind If I Sit Here.
Yes, it is.
That's the opening. I won't do any accent. I won't give anything away. I couldn't even if I tried. But yeah, it's Mind If I Sit Here. Simple as that. But it kind of leads us on the journey. So here's a question for you. Janet is asking, have you done other audiobooks? And I know the answer to this, but I want you to tell us all and just tell us what all you've done.
Oh my gosh. So 2021 was a huge year for me. I graduated college, and on my last month in college, I suddenly was like, I want to get into voiceover. Reached out to some people and got hooked up with Kingswood Productions, and they send me Plot Twist. It was my first audiobook. It was magnificent. I was so excited. I read it in one night, 8 hours, like that, and was so excited. And then they were able to get me another one like right after that. But then there was this big lull. And I was like, I'm out of college now. And, this brought in some good money. I'd like to do this. I went to college for music. And so it was nice to be able to use my voice in another capacity. Um, and so I decided to get plugged in with ACX, which is like an online platform to audition for more like indie authors that aren't signed with a publisher or anything like that. And so I have gotten a lot of work on there. And I actually have to produce and edit all of the audiobooks myself there. Whereas with Plot Twist, I just went into the studio and they did all that work, which was lovely. But, you do what you got to do. And so now I have, I think, somewhat like 20 audiobooks up on Audible now, and have like 5 more in the works.
That's unreal.
So it's been extremely busy.
Yeah.
I'm dying. And that's just in voiceover.
I know. I was going to say, we haven't even talked about the music you're releasing. Holy cow, woman. I mean, do you sleep?
Yeah, but I don't do
Wow.
much else. Yes, forget social life or anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that so many people have taken advantage of your skills for audiobook. I'm not surprised at all, and I'm just delighted that we were able to get you again for the do-over. Yeah, I've shared this with you, and I shared it in my reader group, I think. But when we were starting to think of the personality that we wanted for the do-over audiobook, and what did we want that narrator to be, my editor said to me, "What about Talon?" And it was just like, "Oh, duh." It was almost like I didn't realize we could ask her to do two. It was almost that. It's like that was the only. It was like, of course, done, and it was just such a no-brainer. And then, as I told you, I'm like, I told my editor, I'm like, can we just have Talon do them all from now on? Because you capture the personality so much.
I'm for it. I am so for it.
Let's do it. Done.
Love it.
Why do other people make it so hard? Just we're done. We got this. So we're having more. I'm loving a lot of the comments coming in too. Like, Jennifer right now saying she's confused but excited about reading Plot Twist. So that's awesome. So Janet talked about following the characters on the same day and the unique telling of the story. So let me take a moment, just in case you haven't read Plot Twist, and tell you what we're even talking about, because you may really have no idea what we're talking about. But it is the story of an aspiring screenwriter named Olivia Ross, who is just in a coffee house trying to write. And someone says, "Mind if I sit here?" And that is the beginning of the story. And but what Janet is referencing here that's a little bit different, and why we're having this thing on February 4th, is because that takes place on February 4th, 2003. And then every chapter is February 4th of the next year for 10 years. And so we're only with these characters one day a year. And in that time, we get caught up a little bit. We find out what we need to know about what happened in the past year. But really, it's almost always about just what happens on the day. And so Talon and I are going to play a little bit of a game. I don't know if you'd call it a game. I just think it's going to be ridiculous because I don't think we're going to remember things. But we're going to try to remember what was happening every year. Again, as spoiler-free as possible. We may just have to leave out words. Like this will be the redacted copy with all the black marks through it,
Yes.
basically. But we can do
Yes.
this.
I'm just
I
gonna like
believe.
mute myself. Be like, oh,
I know. Like, I believe in us. We can do it. We can do it. Um, so okay. So we're gonna give it a shot. So starting in 2003, I mean, I basically just told y'all what happens in 2003. Someone asks if they can sit next to her. She meets someone.
it's a glorious meeting.
It's a glorious meeting. And then, but they do agree. Oh, yeah. I left out a very important part of why it's 10 years. And I can
yeah.
tell you this. This is like on the back cover. I'm allowed to tell you this part. They agree to meet back at that same place 10 years from that day to make a movie together because the person who introduced himself is heading to an audition. He's a struggling actor. Of course, we have our aspiring screenwriter in Olivia, and it's just kind of this, we're going to believe in each other when even if no one else believes in us, and we'll be back in 10 years and make a movie together. That's how that ends. But the main thing you really need to know that leads to any mystery throughout the book is she doesn't get his name. So that's all we'll say about that. But 2004. Do you remember what happens in 2004?
I think you have a significant advantage here. Let me just like
see, I think we're probably equally because I've read it more than you, but you've read it since I have.
Okay.
By the time you read it, I'd moved on. I was working on
Yeah.
the do-over by the time you were reading this. So
Fair. But still like muscle memory.
that's true. Okay. Actually, what would be really fun? I don't know if this will be fun or not. See, things that are fun to me may not be fun to anyone else. But how about I read the greeting card, and we'll see if that jogs our memory.
Okay. Yeah.
This may be a horrible game to play, but because there are greeting cards. That's another thing you guys need to know. If you don't know, there are greeting cards at the start of every chapter. They're greeting cards that Olivia wrote, and they all tie into whatever's about to happen in that year. So, the one for 2004 says, I want you to know I thought of you today. It's the little things, a scent or a song. Those are the things that make me think of you. And each time I'm thankful for the scent or the song, and I'm thankful for you. Although we're not together, we're never apart, thinking of you. These are so horrible, by the way. I'm so proud of how bad these greeting cards are.
But they tie in. So in their
They
way,
do.
they're kind of like brilliant.
They do tie in.
Is this the chapter where she's like dating our main guy
Yes.
and he starts singing the Alanis Morissette song that I had to be sure not to sing too much of for copyright?
Yes, and I'm so glad you said that.
Yes.
Yeah, because let's talk about that for a second, because it was, I couldn't write any of the lyrics of the song, like copyright things, basically, so you guys know, like in a book you can write the title of a song, but you can't write the lyrics of a song for obvious reasons. I mean, otherwise it's like, why write anything new? There's great songs already written that have all the thoughts I want. So yeah, that's someone else's intellectual property. So so really all we could say was ironic, or like we could describe what was happening in the song.
I think I remember you just wrote, isn't it, as one of the dialogue. And I was like, isn't it? And I was like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, and I mean, again, you nailed that, because it's like, I would know exactly what you're singing, but you never really sing it, so it's okay,
Yeah.
So we got away with it. So yeah, I need to catch up on comments again. You guys, I'm the worst. I'm the worst. I just get caught up in what we're talking about here. Um, so you guys were talking about how you love the greeting cards. That's so fun. I'm glad you did. Yeah, they were so some of them are there's a couple that I'm like, that wasn't horrible. But a couple of them I'm like, it's so spot on of a cheesy greeting card, but it's awful, you know? It's like they're so bad. Oh, but
I think
anyway.
it adds to the sarcasm of the whole piece and just how Olivia is just going about this job.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I gotta pay my bills. Is and but she definitely well, and I've told this story several times. So some of you may be tired of hearing it, but every greeting card is long and in depth and sappy a lot, or really whatever, like really provoking the emotion. There is one, and I will say it is before, what year are we here? 2011, that is literally just you may be out of sight, but you're never out of mind. And that's the entire thing. And I have to say that was the only one that had to be rewritten during edits because it didn't work with the story anymore. And I had to write a new one. And I didn't have the brain capacity anymore. And that's all I got. So that's why that one is so short. I didn't have any creativity left. I was done. So you may be out of sight, but you're never out of mind. The end. Move on.
Okay.
Yeah. So writing behind the scenes secrets. There you guys go. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Yeah, so you guys, I so agree. Narrator makes such a huge difference when listening to audiobooks.
Yeah.
Um,
It's all the narrator. It's
it's
just them. That's all.
mhm, no
Oh,
pressure. Oh, so Jennifer asked if she needs to step out so we can use spoilers. That's
no, this
okay.
is fun. It's a game.
It is. It's like, can we survive this whole thing without ruining the plot twist? Will be our big. We should get prizes if we manage to do this.
Same. Same. It
Mhm.
totally gets stuck in your head.
It does. It does. Because in 2004, in the year we were just talking about, a second chapter, and she is dating. I'm like, are we allowed to say? Yeah, I think we're okay. She's dating a guy named Liam, who you
Yeah.
get to know very well. And he's very straight-laced, button-up lawyer when we meet him. And
A
then
lawyer.
What's that?
A lawyer.
A lawyer?
Connection.
Crossover potential.
Never mind. That was dumb. No one knows what this means.
No one knows what we're talking about. That's okay. You will eventually. Yeah, in March you'll figure it out. But yeah, so then he hops up on the table, like Talon was saying, and just starts singing this Alanis Morissette song. And it's kind of such a pivotal moment for Olivia because suddenly he's a little too good to be true, I guess is a easy, basic way to put it.
Yeah, because she's a screenwriter, and so she kind of sees everything through the lens of being a screenwriter and what makes a good story and what her role in life is. And she has pigeonholed herself in just a supporting role. And so to
Mhm.
suddenly have like a main character boyfriend is like, this is never gonna work,
Yep.
obviously.
Yep. It what did she say? She's a Joan Cusack.
Yes.
Um,
And
and Joan
he's
Cusack never ends up with a Robert Redford, right?
Robert
Isn't
Redford is also a theme. It's good.
yeah. So yeah, let's see what they think we're adorable. I'm glad you guys are amused at our um okay. Janet says I was so mad at her after that. Fair enough.
But I've been mad at my own friends for doing something like this. So to me, it was like, oh, I know this person. Man.
Yeah. I mean, so much self-sabotage
Yeah.
in Olivia's mind. But yeah, I think, where you said you've known people to do that. And I think that's exactly it. It's maybe our circumstances where we self-sabotage ourselves or where we pigeonhole ourselves into roles or whatever. It may not be as obviously over the top romantic comedy as what Olivia deals with. But I think we all do that in certain ways too. So yeah, a little too relatable. I wanted to say a little too ironic, but I can't because I'll probably get flagged or something. But oh, here we go. So Shannon said she felt a little sad for her that she could only see herself as a supporting character.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Olivia was very much I don't know, she's a bit of I don't want to say a tragic heroine because it's not that, but she is surrounded by what the world would see as the more fabulous people. And yet everyone in her life looks to her as the fabulous person that they love. And that's something I just really love about her is she never saw how special she was in other people's eyes. So, oh, yeah. So people had a hard time with Olivia. I don't know. But it may or may not turn out okay in the end. No spoilers. So, I want to talk for a second about your music.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about your music because I told you this past week and I 100% meant it. I'm obsessed with Instincts. Totally obsessed.
Oh, yay.
I have listened to it so many times. So tell us about what you're doing, what's out now, where to find you, all those fun things.
Okay. I love the little banner on the bottom. This is so high tech. I love it.
It is.
Well, also another 2021 event that happened is I released my debut album. Here it is. And it's all completely written, performed, sung, edited, recorded. If you can see here my lovely microphone, I'm in my home studio in my closet at home. And yeah, I did everything, engineered it, produced it. And so it's all here out in the world now. And I've been working and writing on this album and developing the skills to do all this stuff for nigh on 6 years now. And it was finally able to come out because I was finally in every way, I was like, you know what? No one's going to be able to help me with this. I just need to learn how to do it. And so like with songwriting, I was suddenly like, you know what? If I'm going to be able to sing and if I want to be able to sing all the time, I need to write my own material. And then it was like, well, if I am going to have all these songs that I've written, I need to get them produced, but then I don't know how to talk to a producer to get it produced how I hear it in my head. So I need to learn how to do that. And then it was like, well, might as well have my own recording studio. And then I don't want to mix it though. I don't want to engineer. I want to leave that to the audio engineers. Well, COVID comes and I'm like, I don't know who engineers. And I suddenly it was like, if I am going to put out music this year, I need to learn how to do this. And I have time to learn how to do it. And then a year later, I was able to put everything out at a very professional level. And it's so empowering to be able to say, I'm proud of a body of work. But I guess I would relate it to completing a whole series, like a whole book series, having like a complete anthology out there. And
that is amazing.
So yeah, that's been pretty special. And then it's like, well, what to do next? So that's where Instincts comes in. It was a lovely song that I co-wrote with another Nashville songwriter. And yeah, we've been pushing that single for 2022.
Well, I mean, genuinely obsessed. It's so good. It's so catchy. You said at the time when I messaged you or something about how obsessed with it I was, you were like, be careful, it gets stuck in your head.
Uh-huh.
No joke. No joke.
Uh-huh.
But I love it. When my husband got home from work tonight, I was blaring it on my speaker. I'm like, I'm getting in a Talon mood. And I just love it so much. I love it.
Oh.
And I have to say, so like, in my mind, it's always movies. I mean, I see my books playing out as movies, and I don't even mean just because they need to be turned into movies. I mean, that would be great. Sure. Let's hope that happens someday. But I just mean as far as how I write it, it's a movie in my head. And I have to say, there is a scene in the do-over that Instincts is now the backdrop. And I'm like, if there's a movie, we need to get Instincts in a certain scene.
Yes, sync license me all the way. What scene? Oh, I can't ask that. You maybe
I'll just
tell me
say Battery Park.
later. Really?
Yeah.
I feel so honored. Like for real.
Well, I mean, I think it's and there's actually a couple different ones, but I'm like, to me, there's where she does finally, I kind of see it as like as she's looking for him.
I climax for me. I'm a climax song. What?
Yes, exactly. And it totally is. So anyway, I'm calling it right now. If there's a movie, it has to happen.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
down. Oh, thank you.
Oh. And Emily says, with Colin Firth. So I don't know who he's a little old to be the hero now not in my heart, but in my books. But there's a role for him. Like, and if there's not, I will always write a new one. It's okay. I'll find a place.
Just for Colin Firth.
Just for Colin Firth. It's like in the role of Colin Firth. That's fine too. We'll make it work. So yeah, so so I feel like I'm gonna need to rewatch this after I read the do-over. Yes, that would probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and talk about the do-over a little bit. So the do-over comes out next month, and it's a very different story than Plot Twist.
Yes.
Very different heroine. I think where Olivia is in Plot Twist is so unsure of herself. McKenna Keaton in the do-over is uber sure of herself, perhaps to a fault, but also obviously there's always internal insecurities and things. So talk to me a little, if you would. I don't have a specific question even, but just what was the prep like on the do-over and kind of getting a character on that?
Yes. So I actually, and I told you this, I related a lot more to McKenna than I did to Olivia, at least in like the high school period of my life, was very academically driven. Like the GPA was everything. Everything. And I was even interested in going into some sort of like intellectual property law for a bit. And so it was like, oh, this is like a what if situation for me just reading this book. And so it was very different. Whereas like I felt like I was seeing a lot of my friends' stories through Olivia's eyes. I felt like, oh man, this could have so easily been me in McKenna Keaton's. And some of the lessons I learned a little earlier than McKenna did. But when she finally was ushered into learning these things. And I got more angry with McKenna because I was like, come on, man. I thought I was talking to myself. I was like, hey, get out of your own head. You can tell them. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel yeah. Like I identify a lot more with McKenna too. And the pressures that she puts on herself,
Yeah.
and you and I talked a little bit too about the art that has been pulled together during COVID and different things like that. And yeah, for me, this was I wrote this book basically in lockdown. It was my COVID book.
Mm.
And while there's nothing about COVID in this book, it was very much, yeah, there's something. I was feeling a lot of the same questioning that I think we all started to feel over the course of the past couple of years,
Yeah.
kind of channeled into McKenna in very different situations. So yeah, she's very special to me, um, for a lot of different reasons. But the basic story, so you guys know on this one, is that she walks into a boardroom at her law firm. She's, top New York lawyer, walks into a boardroom expecting to be named senior partner. Instead, she's put on leave, administrative leave, because she's suspected of embezzling from the firm. A crime she would never commit. It's never a question. This is not a question of whether or not McKenna did it. We know from page 1 McKenna would never do this. But that doesn't change the fact that she has to deal with the fallout of all of this. And so she has to go back home to North Carolina. And then there's this guy from high school. And yeah, we get to meet Henry. And Henry is well, everybody knows it. I'm completely in love with Henry Blumenthal. Like, of all my fictional characters, yeah, like I seriously feel like silly talking about Henry because I'm like, I know he's not real, but I love him.
He was
So
written beautifully.
thank you. He was just so exactly what McKenna needed. Now it's a rom-com. I mean, obviously, you guys, I'm not spoiling anything by saying, but it's not an easy path because they're on very different paths and cannot all come together. So, yes, I do hope you'll check out The Do-Over. But I asked Talon if she would be willing to read a sample from The Do-Over, which I'm so excited about. So this will be my first time hearing her read anything from The Do-Over as well. And so yeah, tell us a little bit, I don't know, just about the scene you've chosen, and then have fun. I'm so excited.
Okay. So this is near the beginning of the book. McKenna has been forced, nearly against her will, to go back to Durham, North Carolina, to be with her family. And her youngest sister, is about to get married. And so there's all of this family celebration, but they don't know why she's there. They think she's just there for the engagement party, but she's got all of this hidden underneath. And so they're talking at the dinner table, and they're trying to kind of figure out what's been going on in her life since, they'd never see her because she's in New York all the time. So here they are. They've been discussing her love life when she was in high school. And so I'm just going to start with some of the dialogue here. Okay. "Now we're talking," Taylor exclaimed. She leaned over to Jackson and said, "I missed out on all the good stuff." I shook my head. "No, you didn't." I smiled up at my mom, who had just placed pie in front of me. "There is no good stuff, at least not for me. Now, Erica, on the other hand." Erica wrapped her arms around Jared. "Erica didn't get to the good stuff until this one came along." I grimaced at her, and she winked, properly interpreting my disgust at her schmaltz and not backing down for a moment. I just don't remember you ever having any boyfriends, Kenna, Taylor said. Her fork hovered in the air as she stared into space. After a long while, she shrugged and sighed. Nope, nothing. I was too focused on my studies. I directed a sickly sweet and innocent grin at my dad. That's my girl. Oh, whatever. I think it was Erica who said that. It was difficult to tell over my brother-in-law's riotous laughter. I feigned shock. What? What? Do you question my laborious dedication to my studies? My mother jumped to my defense. No one ever could. Erica swallowed down a piece of pie. That's right, no one ever could. And that laborious dedication kept you from going on dates with your boyfriends, but it didn't keep you from having them. Jackson laughed. What does that mean? I couldn't help but look at him in surprise. He did have a voice. Well, that wasn't fair. He had greeted me very nicely when we were introduced before dinner. But ever since the entire family had been seated at the dining room table, with my niece and nephews eating at the small table in the kitchen, I hadn't heard him utter a word. Taylor hadn't given him a chance. Or maybe he liked it that way. I took a deep breath. Well, I always liked the idea of having a boyfriend, mainly so I didn't have to suffer through the whole upheaval of having to find a date for prom, or wonder if anyone was going to ask me to dance at homecoming. It was easier to find a boyfriend during the social calendar off-season, before everyone got desperate. My family laughed at me as I explained my high school dating philosophy. I was neither offended nor surprised by their chortling. I was used to it. They had always loved me and accepted me, but understanding me, that was another matter entirely.
Yay! Yay! Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Are you crying?
I'm crying. Of course I'm crying.
Oh.
Because it's just, I mean, first of all, okay, you're Taylor? Yes. Like, that's exactly how I hear Taylor in my head. Like, exactly. So, and I just, you just make them come alive for me in the most beautiful way. So thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you. I can't wait for everyone to hear the whole thing and just get to read the whole book. It's so good. I love little bit of what I love about your writing. I love how, with plot twist and with do-over, I have little questions throughout the narrative, and I'm like, is she going to go back and like address this question? Like from the very beginning, the prologue section, I was like, oh man, this really needs to be addressed. And I went through the whole book and forgot about it. And then like one of the second to last chapters, it was like, and she addressed it, and I had forgotten, and I thought she had forgotten my question, and she didn't. And that was over and over in plot twists just because of how much time in between the chapters was. But there are some big ones in the do-over too that I felt there weren't any loose ends. And I'm a big skeptic of the loose ends in like any type of story. And this is just so well wrapped up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that means so much to me. And yeah, thank you so much. And again, you are the voice of Olivia Ross. You are the voice of McKenna Keaton. I'm just so honored that you are on this journey with me. And I know that, yeah, I mean, it was quote unquote happenstance that it plot twist worked out the way it did. But I love that it's launched. Not that it launched the narrator journey for you. You'd have gotten there regardless, but I love that it got to be at the beginning of the journey.
Yeah.
And that just means the world. So yay. So yes, if you guys have not pre-ordered, you can go ahead and pre-order. Obviously buy it in whatever form you like, but I strongly recommend you check out the audiobooks. So like Jessica said, ordering the audiobook for Plot Twist to start, but try to find Talon's entire backlog. Good call. Good call. So, how about we give away some Plot Twist audiobooks? That's a
Let's
good
do it.
place to start.
How can I
Okay.
help?
Let's see. How can you help? What's a question that you could ask to get more responses coming in? What's a because we could, if anyone, we could do like a trivia. Actually, I'll do a couple of randoms. You be thinking of a trivia sort of question from Plot Twist. Is
Okay.
anything you want, and we'll do the first one with the correct answer will win a prize.
Okay.
Okay, so you think on that?
Let me stew here.
So think away. So we'll do a random one here real quick. So this will be for an audiobook of Plot Twist, and that's going to go to Vanessa Kerr. Vanessa Kerr is our winner of a Plot Twist audiobook. I forgot I can like share the screen and show you guys as it's doing that cool drawing. I'll have to do that next time. So if you win any prizes tonight, just send. There are so many different ways to connect with me, and I think you guys already know them because you're watching us tonight. But just one way or another, send me an email. If you win a physical copy, send me your address. But otherwise, just connect with me, and we'll make sure you get it. So congrats, Vanessa. Let's go ahead while you're still thinking of a question. Let's also give away a Plot Twist paperback. So if you win the paperback, it will be a signed copy. Of course, because why even mail one out if you don't sign it, you know? So for a signed paperback of Plot Twist, I don't know if I know how to do the sharing thing or not. I'm not going to overthink it. I'd probably end up just disconnecting us and ending the whole thing. So
We trust you.
thank you.
You don't have to show us.
I appreciate your trust. So our winner is Megan Moore. Megan Moore, you're the winner of a Plot Twist paperback. Congratulations. So same thing there. That'll need your physical address, of course. So very awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and give away a Central Park. Let's see. Let's do another paperback copy of Plot Twist, and we'll also do a Central Park coaster, which, I mean, it's like, you know, if right now in the context, this means nothing to any of you, but two things. One, I actually bought this in Central Park last month. So this is actually from Central Park. Authenticity. It's all about the authenticity. And Central Park matters a great deal in the do-over, is fair to say. And that's all we'll say. But so the winner of this one.
I have a question whenever you're ready.
Okay. So let's draw a random winner for this one, and then we'll get your question on the next one. I'm excited. Okay. It's thinking real hard on this one. Well, it's Jennifer MacDonald. So there you go. So Jennifer, you will get the paperback of Plot Twist, and sorry, I'm multitasking, trying to write names so I don't forget you, and a Central Park coaster. So, which again will make so much more sense after you read the do-over. Okay, Talon. So Talon's going to have a question. I'd say for this one, let's do a Plot Twist audiobook, and I think you're offering a giveaway.
Yes.
Should we maybe team up and do Plot Twist and some music on this one?
A bundle? Yes.
Bundle.
Let's do the bundle.
Okay. So what is your question? And the first response, first right answer will win this. So you guys got to be quick. Okay.
Ready?
Ready.
Name one of the celebrities that Olivia talks to at the auction.
Okay, I'm watching. Who's going to be first? I know, but I won't say. Okay, our first one right there.
Yes. It was like there was a bunch of them because I had to do all their voices. Gosh darn it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so you let's see, you had to do George Clooney.
Mm-hmm.
Which yeah, what was that? Let's talk about that. Because you also had to do
Ralph
who else?
Fiennes.
Yes. And then a character that shall remain nameless.
Character.
So tell us about you had to do the voices of these real people in a fictional situation.
Well, you know, I'm not a male. I am not a guy. And so with like if it was female celebrities, like later I think like Eva Longoria came about and
Yeah.
there were a few others and I was like, okay, maybe I can do a bit more of an impression of them. But also I'm not an impressionist. And so I do the best I can. With male voices, I was like, I'm gonna hit it sort of in the ballpark, give it more of the cadence.
Yeah.
Like with Ralph Fiennes, I gave him the British accent. Well, went a little Voldemort with it. But you know, other than that, I was like, when you're listening to an audiobook, it's a little different from like watching a movie or like true like embodiment of a character like acting is. It's more just the suggestion. An audiobook, it's like the format where I'm sitting around the campfire and I'm just I've opened the book and I'm just reading it aloud to you. And to make it entertaining, I'm gonna do the character voices. But there's only so far that I can go with that realistically and be one person.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job. I felt like I'll have to say that was not something I ever thought about when I wrote those characters into it. Never occurred to me that someday a poor narrator would have to be figuring out how to be, to do this George Clooney moment. But it was awesome. Which leads me, we had a question a little bit ago, which let's see if I can find it again. Okay, I may not be able to find it right now. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so it was a question. Do any big names make appearances in the do-over like George Clooney does in Plot Twist? And yes and no. I don't think anyone speaks.
No, they don't.
Okay.
I can confirm.
Okay.
I was afraid there for a moment. But then the chapter ended. It was done.
Yeah.
He says, "You want to meet Opie?" And I was like, no, we don't.
Yeah, I would have loved to have heard your Ron Howard. I wish I'd just written a line for Ron Howard now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and let's see. Anderson Cooper, I think, is spotted off. Is it Anderson Cooper? I think because, well, Jeremiah does a misdirect with Anderson Cooper's leaving, or I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. You've certainly read this one since I have, but I love what Janet said, which is so true. I feel like George Clooney is a safe bet for any of my books. Yeah, I'm almost shocked. I don't think he's even mentioned in the do-over.
No, I would put the bet on Robert Redford for these two.
Yeah. Redford's the one who makes the solid, legit reference in every book. Yeah. So, yeah, the money's on Redford. So, yeah, I agree. She could pull off any accent. She could do any actor. And I love this. There's always a spot for Ron Howard in the next book. So
don't you dare.
Like, now my mission for all books is find a random, really awkward celebrity scene for Talon to have to read. That's going to be my goal.
No, actually, like learning accents and doing the character voice part of the book is probably my favorite part because I did start as an actress and singing and stuff, and so that's definitely like where I find like the meat of the story for me is in the dialogue.
Yeah.
But so yeah, since Plot Twist, I have like exponentially expanded the amount of accents that I can do. I've done a lot more Irish, a lot more British, and yeah, I actually did a whole book that will be coming out soon in a British accent. It was a Regency, one of those Regency mysteries. So that was quite
Wow.
that was quite the adventure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited to listen to that.
Oh no.
No, I am, because I'm sure it's amazing. My husband has a great idea for the next one, so I'll throw in a Gilbert Gottfried. Like, do you know Gilbert Gottfried? You may be a little
I
young.
would probably recognize him.
Yeah, look him up and you'll instantly be like, oh no, no. Um, and I should have said Gerard Butler right away, even though he's not technically in there. Gerard
Oh my
Butler
god.
is throughout in Plot Twist, which I wanted to show. I don't know if I ever showed this. I may have to my reader group, but this was my book launch gift from my editor for Plot Twist. She got me this mug, which I adore. And then the book launch gift from my friend Leanne was, oh, there you go. Janet just Affleck. Yeah, he's the voice of the duck. Gilbert Gottfried is the Affleck. That's Gilbert Gottfried.
That's not someone doing like a goose impression.
That's basically his voice. His voice is a goose impression, if we're being honest. So say no more.
No.
Yeah, it's real bad. I promise to try real hard never to write a Gilbert Gottfried scene for you. I would not do that to you. Yeah, but so I showed this at the beginning. My friend made this calendar and it's glued there. But here's the part I really wanted to show you guys, and we are so out of time. It's been an hour already. I told Talon, I'm like, no more than an hour. Yeah, well, you guys have had such great questions and things, but I want to show you this real quick. So my friend Leanne she made little greeting cards of every greeting card, and they're in these little envelopes. And so they all have, let's see, I don't know if you guys will be able to see, they're so tiny.
Oh my god.
So she drew a front, and then every last one of them has the greeting card written on the inside, and then even the number, the heart light stuff on the back for every year. You guys, I have good friends. I have real good friends. And then it's show and tell for just a second, because I have a couple more things I have to show you guys. Because if you want a prize from me, I'll be sending with them a bookmark. Because I'll send you a Plot Twist bookmark, but also Plot Twist was part of a fiction box. And one of the things you got was this bookmark, which is made to look like a ticket to the gala that they go to with the celebrity auction. So you'll be getting one of those if you want a prize. And then as part of that fiction box, also, there was I'm not sending you guys this. This is mine. But there was a candle that's Mugs and Shots, which is the name of the coffee house. And there's also a mug that says, "We'll always have Sri Lanka." So there are still some of these boxes available at, let's see, I wrote down the address, faithandfictionbookbox.com. If you guys want to buy one, they're actually on sale right now, and you'll get We'll Always Have Sri Lanka mug and all these other things. So I don't get anything out of that. So that's not for me. But she pulls together these great boxes, and you get all those, and it's called, it's the Meet Me in Hollywood package. So if you see Meet Me in Hollywood, it's all about Plot Twist. So check that out.
I may just be doing that after I get off of this.
It's pretty fun. I tell you, I'm like,
that's amazing.
It's amazing. It absolutely amazing. One more question, and then we're going to wrap up here. Auntie Mermaid is asking, did you or Talon have a favorite year in Plot Twist? Again, it's been a long time since either of us have read this. So, and if you don't have one, that's okay. No pressure.
I mean, favorite, I was so emotional during reading this book. And I think the biggest, I'll just go with like the biggest, like emotionally charged chapter for me is when she and Liam are in the kitchen. I loved how that was written. I was shocked. I was shook. I was on the floor. I was like, what is happening here? How could she do this? But how could she not do this? And that's
Yeah.
all I'll say.
That's all you really can say, but I will say probably same. Um,
Really?
because honestly, it's a scene, and what I don't remember what year it is, and we wouldn't give it away if we did, but it's middle to end. It's like it's
Yeah.
maybe 5, maybe 6 years in, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, we can really tell you guys very little, but it's very much a scene, and if you know, you know. So if you guys know which one we're talking about, let us know. Oh, yep. So I think they're agreeing with you. Yeah. Um, it it's such a it's heartbreaking. It really was. It's heartbreaking, but also it's like it's what you want. Well, like you just said, how could she, but how could she not? I mean, it's awful, and yet it's wonderful. And you know it's actually what should be happening, but it shouldn't be happening like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'll be honest, that was the scene I was most worried wasn't going to make the final cut because
What?
I didn't know if they would let me keep it, because if it would make her too unlikable as someone we could root for.
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
there was some talk about it. I mean, it was never really close to being cut out, but there was some, yeah, we know we're taking a bit of a risk here, but it's necessary for their journey.
Right. Well, and just throughout the book, I think that part is necessary because it's like throughout the book, there's like this shifting scale between being like living for you and being like, hey, I'm going to make my decisions because this is best for me. And then sacrificing yourself for your friends.
Yeah.
And especially where her best friend comes into the picture, Olivia almost always sacrifices,
Yeah.
almost every time.
Yeah.
And this part is one of the first times in the book where she's like, I want this. I want this. And it makes her human. And it's like, so she's not just this perfect friend who's willing to basically just die for her friend to be happy.
Right.
And so it made her more like deep as a character. And then, of course, you know, she goes awful. And I thought you did that very well.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, you guys, this has been so fun. Time flies, as who said the comment a little bit ago of when I say an hour, you guys know I really mean to. Here we go. Yeah. So I think we all know by now an hour when you mean closer to 2 hours. Sorry, I try, but I love this stuff so much. I love getting to talk to Talon. I'm just so grateful that you were able to be here.
Thank you for having me. This has been so fun.
Oh, well, we'll have to do something again for the do-over.
Yes, please.
Yes. So more to come. If you guys did win a prize, don't forget to send me your address and all that stuff. We'll get all that taken care of. And yeah, check out Talon's music and the other audiobooks that she's narrated. And of course, please pre-order the do-over. The quick little plug I want to give on pre-orders is now more than ever with supply and demand issues and shipping and all of that, pre-orders mean more than ever, because you know it just tells stores that that's a book that people are interested in. They need to make sure they have them in stock. So if you, and I wouldn't say this obviously for my books, but any book, any author that you love and you know you're going to buy the book, if you can pre-order it, it helps tremendously. So thank you in advance, and thank you for all of you who do that. Thank you guys so much for being here. It was fun. I love seeing all your
So fun.
comments. So thank you guys so much. Have a great night, and we'll be talking again soon. Thanks, Talon.